ready to unlock that charisma. Like, what even is it? Yeah. We're diving into two books, one for adults, get this, one for teens, both about, social skills and success.
Yeah, and it's so interesting how both of them um, emphasize, like, the nonverbal stuff, those little cues that can totally make or break how you're connecting with someone. It's not just what you say, but, how you made the other person feel, right?
Totally. And it reminds me of this thing in How to Talk to Anyone. Have you heard of the big baby pivot?
Yeah, yeah, I have. It's pretty interesting.
So it's basically like you treat everyone you meet with that same warmth and attention as like a baby. Big smiles, open body language.
Yeah, like you're trying to disarm them, create that instant connection.
And the teen book touches on that too. It talks about like the importance of being genuinely interested and understanding other people's perspectives, right?
Yeah, and they actually have this great story about meeting Amitabh Bachchan. Like, even though the author was super nervous, Bachchan, just like his calm and attentive way of being, totally put them at ease.
See, even the big stars get it. It's those small moments. Right. And that leads perfectly into a technique both books highlight: active listening and mirroring.
And How to Talk to Anyone calls mirroring making a mood match, basically. You subtly match the other person's energy.
Oh, so if someone's like super high energy, you wouldn't be all low-key.
Right, exactly. You're trying to like find that common ground.
So how do they say you do that? Like, what are some practical tips?
Well, How to Talk to Anyone gets into the specifics. Like, they say pay attention to their tone, pace, even their body language. Like, if someone's speaking really softly and slowly, you wouldn't want to come in with this loud, boisterous response.
You got to read the room, right? And speaking of reading the room, another common theme, how to connect with people, even when you think you have nothing in common. Both books had some really cool strategies for this.
Scramble therapy from How to Talk to Anyone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, trying something new every month, a new hobby, a class, something different.
It's like gives you all these new experiences to connect with people over, which the teen book talks about that a lot too.
The more you experience, the more you can connect with people from all walks of life, right? And speaking of things that connect us, both books seem to agree on this. Authenticity is key.
Absolutely. Ditch the cliches and like those tired phrases.
Like instead of just smart, use a more, descriptive word.
They're memorable.
Exactly. And instead of just like, oh, nice party, maybe you say, what a delightful evening. It was a pleasure to be included.
You're present, you're engaged, it makes a difference.
And speaking of being present, we're going to take a quick break and be right back with more insights.
So we talked about being authentic and finding those common threads, but what about when you're like drawing a blank in a conversation?
Right, those awkward silences, everyone's favorite.
Exactly. So How to Talk to Anyone has this thing called parroting. Have you heard of this?
Parroting, like repeating what someone says?
Kind of, but not like word for word. You repeat the last few words they said, but as a question. It keeps things moving.
It sounds so simple, though.
It is, but it works. You're showing you're listening, and it gets them to elaborate.
Makes them feel heard. I like it.
And if you want to go deeper, the teen book suggests asking about like passions, dreams, that kind of stuff.
Everyone loves to talk about what lights them up,
But
right?
totally.
You know what I thought was cool? Never the Naked City from How to Talk to Anyone.
Remind me.
So, like, always have some interesting stories, facts about your hometown or work.
Be prepared. Love it.
So instead of, I'm an accountant, it's, I help businesses make sense of their money, like a puzzle every day. Way more interesting.
Way more engaging, too, right? And that all goes back to authenticity. You're sharing your world.
And speaking of sharing, both books are not into cliches, like big no-nos.
Ditch 'em. Tired as a dog, try something fresher. Exhausted, could sleep for a week.
Much better. Oh, remember that story about Clever Hans, the horse?
The math whiz.
Yeah, from How to Talk to Anyone. Turns out he wasn't actually doing math, just picking up on, like, cues from his handler, totally unconsciously.
The power of nonverbal communication, even when we don't realize it.
Okay, but what about when you need to, like, set boundaries? Someone's getting too nosy.
Ah, right. How to Talk to Anyone to the rescue again. They have the broken record.
You just repeat the same voice.
Pretty much. Might sound weird, but sometimes you just gotta be firm. I prefer not to discuss that. Boom. Boundary set.
Respectful but firm. Got it.
Now, flipping it around, sometimes you need to be persuasive, right? Like asking for a raise.
Both books had advice for that too, didn't they?
Yeah. Confidence is key. They both said that.
Huh.
Knowing your worth, being clear about your needs, but not aggressive.
Right, just confident.
Exactly. And both books were big on storytelling.
because stories stick with people.
A million times more than just like facts and figures.
Our product is good versus our product is a game changer. It's going to revolutionize the industry.
Yes, so much better. And that enthusiasm, that's contagious.
I'm feeling inspired already.
See, it works. I think we've covered a ton. Ready to move on to the final takeaways?
Let's do it. I can't wait to see what else we've got. All right, back for more charisma secrets. Ready?
Ready when you are. And this next one from How to Talk to Anyone, it's about compliments, but like a little twist.
A twist. I'm intrigued.
Instead of "I like your suit," you say "that suit looks fantastic on you." They call it communication. Make the other person the focus.
Oh, subtle but powerful. Instead of the thing, it's how that thing makes you feel, right?
Exactly. Makes it way more genuine. And you know what this reminds me of? That third Ray thing from the teen book?
Finding a mentor. Right, someone to guide you.
Yeah, because we don't always have the answers ourselves, you know?
Totally. Though sometimes it's less about getting advice and more about being that empathetic listener for someone else. Both books talk about that a lot.
Putting yourself in their shoes, seeing their perspective.
Not always easy, especially when you disagree, but both books are big on respectful communication.
It's about remembering we're all human, even when we see things differently. Sometimes it's not about agreement, but just like acknowledging their feelings.
And speaking of different perspectives, how to talk to anyone, they make a good point about cultural differences, which, duh, super important.
Especially these days, right? It's a global world. And they had that example, like opening a gift in front of the person who gave it to you. Some cultures, that's rude. Others, it's expected.
Easy to misread those cues.
Totally. Goes back to that observation thing, being aware. But then on the flip side, there are times when you've got to be assertive, like asking for that raise.
Right. And we talked about that bluffing for bargains tactic, but what else do they have?
Both books are all about confidence, knowing what you're worth, being clear about what you need, but not like in a demanding way.
More like stating your case clearly.
Exactly. And this ties into another big one, finding your own voice.
Because nobody wants a copycat, right?
Right, be you. That's what's compelling, that genuineness.
So to wrap this whole charisma thing up, any final words of wisdom?
Both books say it's a journey, this communication thing. It's about self-awareness, empathy, connecting authentically. It's not a magic trick. It's deeper than that.
Be present.
Yeah.
Be interested. Choose your words. Listen closely. It's the little things.
It really is. Every interaction, it's a chance to connect, to grow.
Love that. All right, everyone. Keep those smiles genuine, those ears open, and keep those conversations going. See you next time.